Liar Liar episode 2, the episode where we, well, keep cheating and lying, of course. Once again, I made way too many copious notes on this episode, as for some reason I'm really engaged in really learning about the system and the plot and the scheming that goes on here. So, the episode goes as follows here. We start off from the ending of the last episode. He gets to this new mansion, he sees this new maid. We get introduced to this new maid, this white-haired girl, and basically we get introduced to her group, like the company as she calls it, which is her and I guess maybe 5 or 4 other girls from other academies or the same academy as her. And they are basically tasked by the headmistress of the 4th academy to help him sort of cheat the system and remain a 7-star. Because currently, he can't really win games against higher starred opponents because he lacks abilities, not only his skill level, but also lacking a lot of actual abilities that he doesn't have because he isn't actually a 7-star, so he can't use like high level skills and abilities that he would have been able to if he was an actual 7-star. So we get a lot of information dump about just how the company here, as they call it, will help him cheat and basically win games easily so he can stay on top and in turn keep the ranking of the 4th Academy at the top or move it to the top and such. We do get to know that apparently at least the maid here, or the assistant, whatever you want to call it, she has a gripe with the headmistress, and she was basically forced into the position she is now to help him, or at least pushed into doing it, or requested into doing it, but she seems to have some sort of a antagonistic relationship with the headmistress of the 4th Academy, which maybe the other people in the company also does. Like maybe she has some sort of blackmail on them, or other things that have sort of forced them to obey her wishes. But at least they are now nevertheless going to help our MC here basically cheat his way along to winning games and being on top. We do get to find out more about the world. Apparently that this island has 20 sections, so there are 20 different academies. And of course he is in the 4th Academy, and at least the maid is in the 3rd Academy. The other people in the company may also be in the 3rd Academy, which is the same academy as the Empress, or the fake Empress, or Princess, what you want to call her. There's also an academy ranking, which was to expected, where each academy is ranked based on how many like high-star people they have, like every 5-star or above contributes to the ranking of the academy, and basically having just the 7-star student, which is only one, right, in all the academies, basically guarantees the top spot more or less. So as long as the 4th Academy headmistress can keep him being this fake 7-star, they can basically guarantee a rank 1, which also gives a lot of benefits, as apparently do get some sort of unspecific benefits for being higher rank or highest rank of these academies. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's some other benefits they get. But nevertheless, it shows that both the headmistress and many other people have a big incentive to keep our MC here afloat and winning and in the position he is currently in. Now, it is a bit curious though how the headmistress was able to fake these documents, like fake his entrance scores and all these things. But I guess like they wouldn't know, and only the headmistress there at the 4th Academy actually knows because she's the one that accepted him. So I guess no one else really has the information, so she can just sort of make it up because it can't really be scrutinized, perhaps. But it is curious how she set that up if she needed to actually alter information somewhere, which would be interesting how she did that, or how she had access to that, or what sort of privileges or powers she has on this island. Because as she told you last episode, she is quite cunning. Very clearly very cunning. Yeah, after we get this entire explanation with the company, as they call it, and that they're going to help him cheat, we basically get to see our MC here winning a sort of high-octane game with a 3-star student that challenges him, that they accept. But basically, they just cheat for him and set up a strategy for him, and he easily wins. And of course, he wins in a very arrogant, sort of self-important way, because that's just the personality he is exuding when he is sort of playing this lie as the 7-star. And it's very entertaining to see, actually. I like it. I do also like the difference between his inner monologue voice and his outer persona. I think that's entertaining and gets some smirks and smiles from me. Anyways, after he beats this 3-star in this game, of course he keeps sort of reaffirming his position as the 7-star, right? Being actually good, even though he's cheating. And then the fake princess basically meets him after the game and hands him a note to meet her at this sort of obscure cafe no one really knows about, and come alone, right? Basically be all quiet and private and keep it off the radar. So he does, and he asks the maid to stop monitoring him as they have like a earpiece on him and stuff and monitor him at all times to keep him safe, but he asks them to stop for the time being, and they do, or at least they say they do. Then he goes into the cafe here and has this sort of talk with the fake Sarasa? Like a fake princess, whatever, anyway. And basically they come to terms and agree to an alliance as, you know, of course, they have all these different variable interests, but, you know, she is really invested in keeping the sort of the reputation and everything around the real Sarasa as it is, and as she has built it over the past year. I mean, I assume she was just sort of forced, or at least sort of pushed into being the fake Sarasa, and I assume maybe she did it willingly because she was her childhood friend, or one of her childhood friends. So she maybe did it because they asked, or maybe she was pushed into doing it, I'm not sure. But yeah, like that's her incentive, right? She wants to keep her secret at all costs, and of course he wants to keep his secret, or keep himself as a 7-star, because he wants to find his childhood friend that he has been searching for, that he knows is on this island, and he wants to find her for some reason. He wants to see her again, or, I mean, there must be some deeper reason to it, we'll find out probably. But yeah, so both are very invested in him not losing the red star, as that would expose all the lies. We do also find out in the same conversation that Sarasa, the reason she was excluded or did not attend as herself was because she was kidnapped right before the entrance exam or entrance ceremony a year before, and then she had to step in as the fake double. And apparently the ones that kidnapped her didn't demand any ransom or anything really, they came with no demands, they just kidnapped her, and we don't know anything more about her at this time. So she has just been put in to sort of be the placeholder, maybe to protect her, like maybe to make the kidnappers think that the one they got wasn't the real one. I'm not really quite sure exactly how they were setting that up, but anyways, it is what it is. Yeah, but then basically, they just had this conversation, and in the end, they sort of ally up, right? They both agree that yes, we have to help each other to keep our secrets from coming out, and to help each other achieve our goals here. Which is expected, right? I mean, it's inevitable, the alliance here would be formed, and the fake Sarasa here displays her tsundere nature immediately. Basically being a, yeah, kind of like you, but I don't like you, but let's be friends, let's help each other, and then blushing is like, yeah. And then they gave each other their numbers, etc. Yeah, of course. What I don't quite agree though with one thing that Sarasa said here in the conversation between her and MC, where she said that if the headmistress finds out that I'm not the real princess or the real empress, the real Sarasa, then she has no reason to protect him. But she still does, because, I mean, just him being a fake 7-star gets her academy to the top of their listing, and gives a ton of benefits and privileges and just prestige for her academy, right? So just based on that, I mean, that alone would be enough incentive for her to keep the lie up no matter what, right? So she wouldn't really care if she found out that she was the fake one, I guess, right? Well, I mean, I guess if everyone found out, which would include her, then maybe she wouldn't have a reason to protect him, right? But I guess the implication is that if he loses, then his secret, of course, also comes out, so then he has no reason to protect him, as he would not be a 7-star anymore. But as long as he remains a 7-star, it wouldn't really matter if she finds out that the one he beat wasn't the real one. At least that's my analysis on that one. Again, like, one of the things I really love about this anime is that I can just watch it and make a shit ton of notes, because I'm really interested, and to really analyze and try to deduct what is happening, what each character's motivations are, and what might develop in the plot and the story to progress it further, and how things are actually working behind the scenes, right? And how it is actually developing, what's actually happening, and just try to figure out all these things on my own before the show overtly tells us. I think that's part of the charm of these sort of shows, and a part of the draw, to have this sort of continual psyop where you're always doubting yourself. Is this person lying? Is this person lying? I mean, the show is called Liar Liar, and they literally talk about lying and cheating and having a psyop in the first episode. So it's like, yeah, it's really interesting to just sort of question motivations, question assumptions, and always be on your toes of thinking, okay, maybe what's being told here is not what's actually happening. At least for me, that is very interesting, and I quite like it. One criticism of the episode here, which I think is a fair one, is that I did sort of have a hope that before we learned of the company here basically helping him cheat and win games just by cheating, I was sort of hoping he would just sort of keep playing the game and winning in games purely by being lucky and using his skill to act all high and mighty and arrogant and self-important, and just winning using his wits basically, and even while being underpowered, still defeating stronger opponents. I thought that would be a really cool thing if they actually went that route, But I understand why they couldn't really do that, because again, he is an actual 1-star, so against like 3, 4, 5, 6-star opponents, he will, as they say, be like a level 1 hero against like a demon lord or like a boss monster, and there's no way he can win, period. So I guess because of that, because of the power scaling they have set in this world, they couldn't really have that happen, because it would break the logic of the world they have built. So I guess that makes sense. But still, I would have liked to see that. And I'm not gonna say it's a really weak point of the anime, but again, it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad. But still, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm still very much enjoying the show. Another thing to point out in this episode here is that, for some reason, both the fake Sarasa and the Maid both like him, question mark, like harem building, question mark. Like, we only have 2 girls for the harem, and the next episode, in the preview, we might have the 3rd harem girl, who knows. But at least for these 2 so far, they definitely seem to be sort of in the harem building phase of liking him in some way or form. I mean, I can sort of understand why the fake Sarasa might sort of be tsundere liking him, or starting to like him, because he knows her secret. He's the only one that knows her secret, except for the family themselves that set it up for her. And she might feel vulnerable and sort of feel like she has a connection or closeness to him that she doesn't have to anyone else, because she can actually open up and be honest with him that she can't be with literally anyone else. So in that sense, I can somewhat understand why she might develop feelings or a connection to him over time, having that sort of new budding relationship or alliance because of what happened in the first episode. So that is logical enough. I'm not going to complain about that. With the Maid, I'm not quite sure why she suddenly seems to be in sort of harem mode, liking him in some way or form. We do see that she blushes a bit and seems sort of happy that he really complimented her food when she made dinner in the start of the episode, and various other small things throughout the episode that shows that, okay, maybe that she really appreciates what he has been saying and such to her. I mean, it's not really enough, I would say, to make her like him, per se, or have any sort of romantic potential feelings for him already, or the start of those anyway. But maybe there are some circumstances we don't know that for some reason, maybe she's never gotten compliments before, or maybe it's been like a scheming, lying situation for as long as she can remember, because she's part of this company, whatever, and having maybe someone be brutally honest and super open, as he is when he lets his guard down, then maybe that's something she really finds nice, and she wants to attach herself onto. I mean, there might be some sort of reasoning like that for why she seems to be slowly going into his harem, maybe in a few episodes' time, but hopefully they don't make it super weird, just massive harem, new girl every episode swooning over him or getting attached to him. That might be a bit much. But again, it's not ruining my enjoyment of the show at all, so I don't mind too much so far. I do also like at the end of the episode here, where she basically meets him the day after they had this meeting and agreed to ally, and they exchange numbers, and she basically comes up and is like, "Why didn't you text me last night?" And he plays it off with his arrogant 7-star sort of outwardly attitude in front of these people. But he is like, "Ah shit, I fell asleep." She's like apparently really triggered that he didn't text her. Oh no. So apparently the tsundere nature is coming out. It's coming out. But yeah, I mean, this show so far, after episode 2, I do realize this video is getting long, so pardon me, but I still quite enjoy the show. Like, don't get me wrong, I still quite enjoy the show. I still think the second episode was a strong episode to continue from the first one, and it did flesh out the world some, and we got a lot more information, including with Sarasa and what really happened to the real one, and more around that, and more around his motivations somewhat. So I am still really enjoying it, and I do, again, the main drawing point for me is this concept of, like, yeah, the liar concept, right, as it's in the name. Having these continual, like, having to live a lie, having to, like, pretend you are someone you're not, maybe in the end becoming the person you were pretending to be. For example, with the fake Sarasa, like, I mean, I'm sure she has somewhat become the person she has faked to be for, like, over a year. I mean, like, just pretending to be someone for that amount of time in everything you do will inevitably affect your mental state and how you perceive yourself. So, I mean, though that part, just on its own, I think is really interesting, and I think they can do a lot with that. But just the entire concept of these continual psyops, and just running this big lie, and that all these people are lying to each other for various reasons, and it's a ton of scheming, and planning, and backstabbing, and whatever else. Like, that entire thing, I think, is really, really cool, and really love it, and I think that is great, and really draws me in. Outside of that, I think the MC is cool, I like him, I think there's some potential to make him really interesting, and just entertaining. this having to live this lie and how he will manage to survive and thrive and basically beat the situation he has been put in inadvertently. And just like the systems and the games, and just really enjoying how they might set up, like, you know, sort of these new games with these different people that we will inevitably see moving forward in the season, and seeing how they sort of explain to us why he won this and that game, like actually sort of explaining the powers he uses and such, as they did in this episode in the one game they showed. That I think is also really cool, in my opinion, as I really like those sort of things. So yeah, I mean, for me, the show is quite good. I think it's way better than I expected so far. I mean, I did have high hopes for it, and it's looking fairly good, actually. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like the best of the season or anything. It might really fall flat moving forward, but if it continues on this arc, I think it's gonna be a really enjoyable, really engaging watch for me, at least, in this anime season. I will for sure be covering this week to week, because I have like so many things to talk about and so many things I want to just deduct and analyze in each episode and try to answer these questions that many of you are also trying to answer yourselves, right? That being said, that'll be the end of this, wow, very long video on episode 2 of Liar Liar. What did you think of episode 2? Did you like episode 2? Did you not like episode 2? Why did you like it? Why did you not like it? Feel free to comment anything below you have thoughts-wise or whatever else. Also, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good business. I would highly appreciate any support here. So thank you, thank you. That being said, I will see you all in the next Liar Liar or other anime video, so have a good day. Bye-bye.